What do I need to know to start a food truck? So in this video, we are going to cover 9 specific things that you need to know and understand in order to start a food truck. And welcome to Food Truck Freaks. This is YouTube's premier brand new food entrepreneur channel dedicated to food truck entrepreneurs. We are going to have a ton of new content coming out from everything from how to market your food truck, how to build one, what they cost, and even state-specific requirements for food truck business. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and check out our podcast. This podcast will definitely be uploaded. We'll put it on YouTube here as well, and you can catch us on the links down below the video. There's a lot of other free resources for food truck entrepreneurs. So let's jump right into it. Number 1, plan what is going to cost you to buy a food truck. What do I mean by that, Damien? Well, that's kind of a no-brainer. Well, a lot of people do not, specifically food entrepreneurs who create food trucks, don't plan out much of their business. They're kind of jumping around from spot to spot. You need to understand what its costs are going to be in play whenever you buy a food truck. So what does that mean? Are you going to buy a brand new food truck, or are you going to get one used? Okay, so if you get a brand new one, it's most likely you're going to probably get one that's either built to order, which is going to be specifically equipped with the type of equipment you'll need for your cuisine and what you're cooking, even prep tables and equipment that's going to be dedicated to the type of food you're going to make. Not every food truck is going to be applicable. If you're making burritos and you buy an ice cream truck, obviously that's not going to work. So you want to make sure that you've got the right truck with the right equipment. Can you get a used one, Damien? Yes. Believe it or not, you can get very good used ones at a great value, but you have to double check, of course, with the mechanics, the engine, the equipment, if everything is wired properly, functioning and working properly. But the other really key thing is, does that used truck have, again, specific equipment dedicated to the type of food menu you're going to make? Okay, so that is something that's huge, and it's a huge part of the planning process in order for you to buy the right truck before you even begin any other aspects from permits, inspections, and everything else. Make sure that you are understanding the overall costs of your specific type of food cuisine and the preparation of that on the food truck itself, okay? So keep that in mind. Number 2, of course, get your health permits. Any licenses and permits that you might need for your food truck, and I'm actually gonna go through a really quick list of what's normally expected for a food truck and what you need to know to start your food truck business. Number 1, your EIN. This is an employer identification number. The IRS actually issues these numbers. They're absolutely free, but what it does is it distinguishes and gives your specific business a number, almost like a business social security number. And that way you have the ability to file your taxes and get all of your IRS situations straightened away annually every year based on the number they give you of your employer identification number. Next up, of course, your business license. Now, I'm going to cover this really quick. This is something that's really interesting because when it comes to mobile food truck businesses, it's very unique style of business, because if you go from one city or a county to the next and you're going throughout your state or even into another state, you need to make sure that you follow up with the county or city, because specifically, business license must be issued for food trucks. This is traditionally how it works. If you go into another city and you occupy that place and you start selling it and you're conducting business, you need to have a business license there as well. It's something that's really unique because, of course, restaurants don't move. They're brick and mortar, so they don't go anywhere. But if you're conducting business in another county or city, mobile food carts, food trucks, food trailers, they need to have business licenses in those cities and counties. So make sure you obtain the right business license and as many licenses, of course, as you may need based upon where you're going to be going. Next up is a driver's license. Now that's kind of a no-brainer, but believe it or not, everyone on the truck, if you have yourself and maybe 1 or 2 employees, and one of those employees is driving the truck and they don't have a license with them and they get pulled over, your truck, not only your business, but your truck could be facing fines and even impounded. I've even heard some horror stories about that too. So make sure you have a valid driver's license, of course, and make sure whatever food truck event you're going to, you are backed up with business licenses, number 1, number 2, your EIN, and number 3, your driver's licenses for everybody on board. Next up is a seller's permit. So food truck owners in certain cities and counties must apply for a seller's license, which allows them to buy food and other commodities at wholesale prices without having to pay a sales tax. So If you're going somewhere and you're obviously having ingredients of some kind, all of those ingredients should not be taxed twice. If you're going to a big box store like a Costco or BJ's or Sam's Club, make sure that you're actually getting tax exemption so you're not paying taxes twice. Okay. Now the next one up, as far as permits and licenses are going, and when you want to start your food truck, you're going to need to get a food handler's permit. Food handler's permit is required in most states pretty much for one or more of the employees of the food truck. So again, most food trucks actually start with an owner and then maybe one person, one employee, or maybe a husband and wife, or somebody like a friend or a family member. But you need to make sure before the permit is awarded, the city or state may require one or more of your employees to actually undergo a food safety course. So keep your food truck company safe. Make sure you're doing business during business hours, and make sure someone with a valid food handler's permit is on the truck, okay? Next one up, permit from the Department of Health. Okay, so if you're looking to create a food truck and you're trying to ask yourself, what do I need to know to get this thing up and running? You got to definitely have a permit from the health department, which normally they'll also inspect it as well. Your inspections will come through and they'll double check the truck to make sure everything's good to go. And that will give you the permit allowed and giving you the opportunity from the health department within your city or county to operate your food business. Now, the next one is something that a lot of people don't realize. This goes for pretty much every type of food service business that's out there. But one of the permits or licenses that you need to get is a fire inspection, the fire certificate. So basically how this works is if you have any cooking equipment on board, the fire department will inspect your food truck to ensure it is inspected, is put in correctly, the wiring is correct, everything about the truck itself is operating and functioning correctly, and that it minimizes any potential for fires to break out. Now, there's a lot of food trucks who run with generators. There's a lot of food trucks who run with deep fryers. These can be extremely dangerous and very small quarters. So you want to make sure that you have a fire inspection as well. All right. So that was number 3, getting your permits and licenses. Number 4, decide how you're going to actually produce the food product. So what does that mean, Damien? How do I produce and make the product? If you've got a process that's in place to produce a finalized food item, whether you're producing hamburgers, tacos, hot dogs, snacks, or nachos, whatever it may be, make sure that you've got a specific proper preparation and process in place. So this speeds up the time frame it takes for you to make it for the customer. Most food truck customers will wait maybe between 2 to 4 minutes, okay? Most of the time. And some of the time it's actually served up instantly. Some people end up actually making products that if you're keeping someone waiting longer than 5 minutes, that's not only really bad for your customer, but it's also bad for your business, because the idea is that you want to create a menu, have a process down that you can turn over the food and get it out the door as fast, but of course with the best quality that you can possible, okay? That is how food trucks actually make their money. Quantity, and of course quality and quality. But those have to go coincide with each other. And the processes it takes for you to produce a final product, to give it to them on a plate, give it to them in a to-go container, whatever it may be, get that down pat. And make sure that every employee that you have in your food truck is on board and they know the process. Because they're going to be maybe 1, 2, or even 3 people in that truck, including yourself. And you want to make sure that everybody knows how to prepare that product, get it out the door. Because if you're turning 1,000 plates or so, or 1,000 servings of a product at a food truck, that's obviously better than serving 500 plates, okay? So you want to make sure you've got those processes down. Number 5, you got to get your employees and make sure that you have vendors set up with it as well. Make sure you have suppliers, your supply chain. Make sure you also have more than one vendor for a certain ingredient or supply. I've learned that the hard way having my own food business. When I first started, I didn't understand that. And we had to order a handful of ingredients for some of our baked goods, and they ran out of the particular product, and that ended up costing me sales. So when you have a food truck, make sure you have multiple vendors. I don't care if you're looking for fresh produce, have 3 to 4 vendors for produce. If you have proteins, meats and stuff, if you have a local store or something, make sure you know in the area that there's 2 or 3 stores that have that specific ingredient or protein. If it's chicken, meat, beef, fish, whatever it may be, that is going to keep you in business, and that's going to give you the heads up whenever you have a vendor who may be out or low. Next up, of course, as I mentioned, was having the employees. When you first start your food truck, you may want to just do it by yourself and one person, such as a family member or a friend. And of course, keeping it legal and paying them and everything, of course. What I mean by that is you want to gauge how your food truck business will go. Because you don't want to just go out of the gate and hire 3 employees yourself. You go to an event and you're all standing around because there's not enough customers to actually merit having 4 people on a food truck. So don't necessarily go out and hire employees just randomly. You want to gauge your community, gauge the events that you go to, figure out what it makes sense. If you need one more person to help you and you can still put out the amount of product, hire one person. Don't hire 2. Don't hire 3 or 4. So if you need more people, of course, during a holiday or a certain event that may have 10, 15, 20,000 people instead of 2,000, well, then you need to have more people. But right out of the gate, I highly recommend you try to do as much as you can on your own with minimal help and then figuring out what you would need as you go. Number 6, where are you going to park? Guess what? Cities and counties do not let food trucks just randomly park wherever they want to. There are traffic issues behind that reason. There's local laws, there's local ordinances. There's even in some states, they minimize the amount of space that you have between you and other restaurants. So in some cities and counties, they actually have ordinances where you cannot be within 500 feet or 1,000 feet of a restaurant. Certain streets that may be one way or minimal amount of passing distance for other cars, they're not going to allow you to park there. So you need to make sure that you know where you can park a food truck, and the permits, by the way, which will come with that as well. You need to also be aware of what type of permits you need, because in some cities and counties, you have to pay a separate permit to park in a certain area of the town. So make sure you know where to park a food truck. Number 6, all right? So number 7, marketing your food truck. How do you market a food truck? And how do you promote it? Number 1, big one, Facebook. And next one, Instagram and Twitter would be a close seconds. Why Facebook, Damien? Because Facebook allows you to create an entire page for your business. You need to have a Facebook presence for your specific food truck in your specific community, in your county and city. This is really important because on Facebook has a lot of groups that are set up for cities and counties, specifically where you live. If it's Los Angeles, California, then there's a lot of local organizations that you need to team up with. You need to be on Facebook, interacting, engaging with those pages, not only yours, but you can post pictures on your Facebook page, menu. You can give people an idea that maybe you cater. Do you cater events? Put that on your Facebook page. It doesn't cost anything to do that, okay? You shouldn't be paying hundreds of dollars or even thousands a month to have some marketing team or marketing agency do all this. That's nonsense. Spend the time, sit down, create a page, make it full of content, link it up to other organizations and groups within your specific city and county, and use that. Leverage the existing people who are there. That can get your word out about your food truck very fast, okay? There could be a hospital or a local organization page within Los Angeles that you can team up with, and hey, you know what? We're looking for somebody to cater an event at our hospital. We're doing a fundraiser. Your food truck may pop right up, and you've got yourself business, and that costs you $0. So getting creative with your marketing and advertising ideas, thinking outside the box and finding free ways to do it. You don't have to spend money on it. It just spends a little bit of time, okay? That is one way to market a food truck fast, okay? That's one of the great things that I like about Facebook as far as a business perspective is it has a lot of local groups or local agencies, local organizations and things that you can get hooked up with very quick. Number 8, you gotta make sure, of course, you have a very good and effective point of sale system. You need to make sure you have a point of sale that's hooked up with your truck, that it's fast, it's accurate, and it's cheap, inexpensive. That doesn't cost a fortune, okay? The point of sale is a very simple feature that you need to have, but it's not only simple, it's extremely important, of course, taking payments, but you wanna make sure that you get one that's got like a 2, maybe 3% fee per transaction or even less, monthly fees that are not there, easy features and other hardware that makes it easy to put it onto the truck, allowing your customers to make payment, okay? Lastly, number 9. All right, so you have everything set and good to go. Make sure you have a process down for how your business runs. Now, I spoke earlier about a process to make a food product. With all of these things in place, you want to make sure that your day-to-day business is basically running fluid and smooth and easy. Easy in the sense that at least you have processes in place for everything you do. Take time to do that. And also train your people, your employees, to do that as well and to understand the processes and what is expected of them working for you. So make sure that you have a process down for your daily business operations, and that's going to make everything run much smoother and everybody's understanding what's expected, okay? So These are 9 amazing tips, great tips to help you get started with your food truck business. So if you're looking to figure out what do I need to know to start a food truck, those are the 9 that I would highly recommend any food truck entrepreneur take. So if you have any questions or comments, let us know down below about your food truck business. And definitely subscribe and hit the like button. We are building up a lot of content on this channel. I'm actually not new to YouTube. I have Marketing Food Online YouTube channel. That is actually our other one, and Marketing Food Online 2. And we have a Cottage Food, which is a home-based food business entrepreneur channel that we're getting up and running as well. So all of your support is greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys on our next podcast.